Hi, welcome back to a new tutorial series, mega tutorials. We will build a bike from start till end. Here down left you see what I click and what letters I type on my keyboard. The first thing is we want to build a stat here. That is this part here. You can take here screenshot now, then you have that picture that we need for that. Good. So we start. Add mesh a cube. All starts with a cube. So we have that in that size. We see it must be round and it should be here smaller than there. So we start with the edit mode and face selection. Then we get here this front face and extrude them, bring them out, scale them down, so we become this middle smaller part. Extrude again, bring a little out, extrude again, and scale it up to same size at the other side. Then you see we have here a front part with the roundness in there, so we extrude one time and the second time to get here this roundness later in, and here we must do the same to get the roundness. So to get there a perfect roundness, we need a sample. That sample is cylinder. Oh, that isn't a cylinder, so again add mesh cylinder. Yeah, rotate x 90 degrees. And we make them as great as the whole part there is and give them a color that we see them better. So we take here reddish. So then we place them there. Good, that is the size that we need. A little bit smaller. When you hold shift you can tweak that better. Good. So we see that is what we must reach. So we bring it in the back part. Then we place here on that model a modifier, and we take here the subdivision surface modifier. See what happens. And give them subdivision part 2. Then he makes all round. And we give them here in the toolbar smooth. Then you see it's like a bone or something else there. And you see that isn't that round that we need for here. So because of that we have to tweak that. We only can tweak that when we have enough loops in there. So we give them here 3 loops. And then you see he flattened that here. That is what we don't want. So we must change that. We go here to with background selection. That must be activated. Then here the word selection with here this proportional editing connected. That we need. Then we bring them a little to the side. Edit mode. Then with circle selection we can get here this point and then grab in the X. And now you can roll the middle mouse button to give the influte size that you want. And we only want that we can get it like this. Such like that. For the start is good, we will tweak that later much better, but for start is okay. Good. What we see next here is that there is no hole in. You see here is an outcutted part in that. So we need 2 loops. So we get here out of background selection. We look from top, it's the 7 on numpad. Control R to make loops. Move the mouse wheel so we can select here 2 loops. And now we have to open that thing here. For that we need here a stop. So Control R, bring a loop in. Here is the stop where we don't want to change some. So we now want to open, so we get here the edge selection, disable the proportional. Then we mark that one, that, and that. Then with X we can delete edges, and now that is open, you see that. Now we must close that. That we make here from that edge to the down edge, F to close. Then we go here with hold it Alt key on the keyboard and right mouse click, mouse button click on this line, and you see he marks them completely, and then with F we can close that. Same we make on the other side, F to close. So we got that. That isn't all not really nice round. That all we change later. So then we need a second sample to get here a sample of roundness, that we can tweak that so that we have a perfect roundness in there, and the roundness must a little bit smaller, so such like that. Good. Here the same, we get here in our bone, get background selection with us, get vertex selection, get this vertex, enable proportional editing, and this time we grab in the X again and bring it into. With rolling the mouse button you can control how hard he should be influted by our moving. So that is the first thing here. You see that all doesn't fit in a moment really good. That is because he tries to make that round because of this shader here. But we must give them his edges hard. So we make here loop in, Control R, and move them to the outside, so he sharpen up this whole thing here. It is now very sharper, and we surely need later here another loop to control that better. So, but at first we let it like it is. So the next what we want to do, let's look. Good. Yeah. Make the basics. Nothing is really that straight. So that means we take this 4 edges here, and they need to be a little bit more inside there and a little bit deeper. So scale Y. Oh, not with proportional. Disable that. Scale Y. So we are now more in, and we need to go more down. So we grab set. We can bring them down. Now we have a more organic looking float of that. Same we need to do downstairs. So we mark that for verts there and scale Y, and then bring it up by grab set. So that looks more organically. That is good. You see that here is, he tries to make it round, but it isn't sharp enough. So we have here the same that we did there. We must bring in the loops to make the chopper. So Control R to make a loop in and bring it near to. So you see it will sharpen up a little. We need here another one. So Control R, bring here one. And now you see that sharpens up really heavy. Here another loop in, Control R, and move it, and you see it will sharpen up here really good. Okay, so we got that. When you want it not so sharp, you can move a little that you have a better look there from a little roundness before it comes too hard there. So okay, then the next part is to make here the roundness real round, like we should have it, because it isn't in the moment perfectly round. That is because we have two less loops in there. So we give here another loop in, there, down there, and there. Now we have enough loops to get there a wonderful control over that all. And now we go on by moving. We take this one, and oh, you must select that with circle selection. If not, you will not get this other one there in the back, and we must enable here background selection with them. So, and now we can get them and bring them up that it more fits. Then we take here again the proportional editing connected and grabbing in the X. Now you can see we can handle that better. We should bring them to complete straight one first. So that means we scale that without proportional editing, scale X 0, so we have an only straight one. And now we try to bend that like we would. So we make here the first half of the ball there, and then extrude again to this point here. Then we get here with circle selection the middle words and enable the connected proportional editing and grab X and bring it in form. And now it lines up much better, but we must tweak the little manual. So we get these 2 points and grab X to get them more back. We disable proportional editing. So here we line up good. Now we must look there a little out. Okay, we see what we have to do. We have to get this one and that one. Circle selection, okay. Then grab in the, oh no, it was this one and this one. So grab X and then we can look that it lines up, and that is much better round. You may ask why that looks here so awful. That is because we have no loops in here, and we need to. So, but before we make that, we make the same here. So with circle selection, first we get this loop here completely, and with X we can say dissolve edges, then he gets them out. Then with circle selection we select this words here, then scale X 0, so we have a straight line. Then we have here the start, then we get here this word, and with proportional editing connected, grab X and bring them backward, such like that. And the rest we make manually. We get these outer words and disable proportional, and then bring them more in, and the same with these 2 words, bring them near in, and so we come near to our form that we need. Don't forget, later it will be much sharper, because we will sharpen up that here with the other words there, with the other loops there that we pull in then. So here we can go a little bit to the inside, so we can scale set to bring them a little bit near. Good. For the start, we get that here a little to the X, that we inflow with the rest, and then we sharpen up that by Control R, move the another loop in, so we got that. And when we now plug that here to the side and get here, we see what we got here. We need here a straight line, so because of that, that one here must be straight in the front. That means we take these three faces here and extrude them here to the front. Then with scale X0 we make it straight and give them here another loop in, Control R, and then we have here an absolutely straight line. That is what we want. And the same we make down there. We get face selection, this three faces, extrude, bird selection, scale X0, and get another loop in, Control R, and move them there, and then we have that strange looking effect there. Good. Then you see that on the top there are round parts where the screws come in there. So because of that, we need here to let them come out. So we give them here a loop and there a loop, so we can plug out that. That must go from here to here and there to there, and we get them out by extruding and move them up to the X. So we have now the screw tunnel there. The same we must do here on the down part. Mark this faces and then grab X, extrude, and grab set. So we get them outside. Good. That we all have now. The only thing what isn't good is that here, because that isn't sharp enough, and that is because we have here no loops in. That means we need here an inner loop, Control R, to bring them in, and you see what happens, it sharpen up, and the same we make here on the side, and then we have a more sharpened result than before. Here we can tweak a little, I think, but it isn't really needed, but we can try to reach perfection with grabbing a little in the X, and we must go more to the middle of that, two birds that we have the flow here that is longer than that one, so we have to go in the half from them, so we grab them here and then we have that. Good. We make a copy of that one, so Shift D, we have a copy now. Then we can move this one thing here to with M, move, then click on the second, and that's the second layer, and there we have it. So we have a secure copy, that's good. So file save as, I call it in German Fahrradlenkerhalter 2. You can name it in English tool. So save as plan file. It's done. Now we see there is a hole in, so we get our cylinder there and pull them between that, scale in Y, get a little bit crater, and then we scale them down to such like that, I think. So that we want to cut in our model. To make that, we must before apply our modifier here. So we apply the subdivision surface. Now we have this one here, and that we can cut. Sorry, I'm a little bit ill. Okay. So we need the name of this red one. We click them, and you see here's the name, cylinder 001. So we click on a bone, then we give them the modifier. It's called Boolean, and this Boolean needs to know what is the operation. We want the difference between our bone and the other object, and the other object was the name cylinder 001. So we take here 001, and then we apply that. And now when you move this way, you see he has cutted that hole out there. But you see we have here little errors there that are shading errors, it's called. That's the name of that. We click on that and give them a smooth. So we get this part out. To get them away, we take another modifier, the add split modifier, and you see it's gone. The problem with the edge modifier is when you activate them with the IA, you can deactivate or activate them. So with this is deactivated, it has 70,000, and with enable them, it has 18,000. So you get more words when you use an edge split modifier. Ever keep that in mind. Good. We have done that all, and this and this we can now move with them to the second layer too. So we have here space, and only that what we need, that is this 9,000 bone, and save again. Now we make the material for it, and we need to set seams to get an unwrap on there. That means we select the inner parts that nobody sees and say he can cut this 3D model on these parts. So that means with circle selection, we mark here this ring. You can't loop that because you cutted that with Bool tool, with Boolean, and when you do some with a Boolean, you destroy the topology of an object, and so you can't loop that. It's not loopable. So we must disable all that we don't need. So only the ring should be selected. So with hold the shift and right mouse button click, you can disable the selected words in this case. So a little bit funny stuff here, but what must be done must be done. So we near to okay, we have that. To see that we not forgot some, we press set and then you see this wireframe mode, and there you see we have much more selected. And that means we take circle selection, roll the middle mouse to get the influte there, and then press the middle mouse button. You can deselect also selected words, and that is for this faster. So down there is one, and I think that was it. Okay. Then we have here under Tools, Shading, UV, Mark Seam. Now the line gets red, and that means he cuts the 3D object at these parts and make it 2D, to a 2D unwrap later. So we have to do that with all those rings and with all inner parts that we can't see. So I go on by marking, circle selection, roll around, and then disable the don't need it. That is the problem with the Boolean. There's no problem to use the Boolean, but when you take them, you destroy the topology and it's not loopable. Then you have to do such shit like that here. What we do now here. There is a way to get that better. That is the Ramesh Modifier. He makes all that you have there to quads, and with that you can work a little better than with destroy topology. Good. We'll look at what we have here. That looks good. So we mark seam. So we have this both rings, but here we see one is left, so we mark them manually and give them mark seam. Okay. On such operations, when you work with a Boolean, it can be that there are many words that you don't need, that are not fixed on other words, and so on. For that there is an option to delete such. I show you that. That is when you have the whole model there in the edit mode and A to select all. Then you can say here under tools there is remove doubles, and then you see there was 0 of them, but it can be that there are thousands of them. And there is another option that is mesh cleanup, delete losers. In this case we have a good model, nothing happened. Good. But get that in mind that there is this option. Good. Now we mark more of them. This one here. Good. Then disable the words that we don't want. Best is with set, and you see better what happens there. It's a little bit stressy, but so you learn how to see good what you have marked, where you have marked it, how can I demark it, and so on. That is a good sample. You can try it, that you get better in that. That are the basics, and the basics everybody must know to make art. So shading UV mark seam. So we have two of them. Last one is here. So we go back to solid mode. Solid mode. And mark the outer ring. And disable, don't need it. And that's the thing. You see such and think, oh, that I make in seconds, but seconds isn't right when you think on all that you must do. The mark seams, the unwrap, the texturing, the shadows, the light, the compositing, all this stuff. You will need much time. The rough basic shape of some, that is done fast. But all the other stuff, that takes much time. To get a basic mesh, that is not the problem, then you make a minute. But the rest, that is really heavy stuff. So, we got that, and I think that looks good. So, mark seam. Good. It is not enough to have the outer rings marked, because he can't cut here in the middle then. So we have here to give a mark seam 2 at the bottom, and here the bottom mark seam. So you can cut that ring and open them and make them flat as a 2D. Good. Then here we have the inner side from this round thing here. So we can take that here and mark seam. And then from there up to the other one. So we mark that here too. And then we get a line from here, that point, downwards to the other here. That is with hold it, control, and then right mouse button on the goal point that you want to have, and then right click, and then he loops from start point to end point. So that's here is start point, so click them, hold the control key and go to the goal and click right mouse button, and he marked the loop from start point to end point. Good, we have done that. Now we have to mark the down part too. He must cut them off. So we bring that to that point and mark seam. And so we come here to the inner part of our mesh here, and we have surely to get a connection to the other loops there. And that we can make here. We give them a way to connect with that loop here. Mark seam. So we have here a good cut-able way, and same we need to do on the other side. From here downwards, get here long, and from here to there, and then mark seam. It's important that the red lines only there where you can't see them because the textures will end here and another one begins then there, and that you will see. Because of that, keep in mind. Okay, file, save. We have set the seams. After setting the seams, you must unwrap. So that means you go edit mode, A to mark all, then press U, and then simply unwrap. Good, that's done. You see nothing because we have no material on it. But now when it's unwrapped, we can put textures on it, a material on it. So we go here to material mode, new, and give them a name. We call it black, and I think that is plastic. So black plastic. And then we give them here principal shader. Makes it a little bit looking better. Then we see here, we have here a close point, and it looks more like marble or something else. So we have to change that. And here you can select what you will see in this window. So we need now the node editor. Each material has nodes. So in this case, our material has the principal shader and the material output. That isn't enough. First, what we want to have is, when you look at the original, it is black. So we get here to the base color and give them black. And now you see it is too much glossy. This other one is rough. So we have to give them roughness. That is here. So we bring them in, and you see there too how the material looks down. And you see, oh, it looks a little bit rougher. We take it at this point, but you see there isn't something on that is flat looking, and here you see little sparkles on there, and that means we need a normal map for this, so that we have deeper parts, higher parts in our mesh, on our mesh. So file, save. So that means we need normal maps. You can download them by textures.com or any other places. I have done such, downloaded, and I have them here in my folder. And you see there are thousands of them. And now we try to find the right one for plastic. And I must look where it is. That is ground. That is asphalt, I think. Or beton. I think that one can be it. For plastic, that isn't good. That one is good. So that I put in my folder where I have this whole project in. That is here. And there in this folder I make a new folder and call it textures. And there I put in my normal map. Now it's in there. Then we go back and we can plug them in. To plug in a normal map you need more than one thing. The first, I told you, you can only use pictures or something else with a UV. So you need the coordinates of them. That is by add input texture coordinates, so that he knows where he cuts and where he opens the 3D object to in 2D. Then we need a mapping. That means add vector mapping, and that will be connected. That is for the position of the texture on our object, or the rotation of it, or the scale of our texture on our object. So we have to connect it the same color with vector. We have a UV, so we use UV as a vector. We have a texture. That is good. It's we must go and connect it to that, but there is something missing, our normal map, and that is a texture, and so we need add texture, image texture, that we plug here, and you see color to color connected. Then we open, and now we have here our folder that we make with textures, and there we can take the normal map. Now we have taken texture, but we haven't say that is a normal, so we have to add vector normal map. Plug them there, connect yellow with yellow, then you have here a field that is our UV map that we made here by unwrapping, and now we have to connect the principal shader that has a normal and that has a normal, so we connected, same color, bang. Now you see we have this 3D effect on it, but it's a little bit rough effect, and you see we have here dark parts. The dark parts become from the strange of our effect from the normal, so we get them here down, and that will be look better and better and better. A little effect is more than nothing, so I think here is 3 or 2 is good. And you see this effect is a little bit too great. It's too rough, like from elephant or something. So we get down here and make it the size, the scale of our texture, make it smaller, and that means it goes here finer with more details and more details, and that gives then this realistic look. Good. We have done our first material. That is good for now. We have to do some things for the light and so on. So here in the world, we have to use on the surface use nodes on background, and we need here an environment texture. That is a texture that is on the back of the whole scene, and it is a texture with a background. So I need a background in our texture folder, so I go to my folder, and you can get it from textures.com. I told you that are called HDRI, and that are this 8K maps that brings light in our scene, the environment light. So I, in this case, take this one here, Park Center 8K, and plug them into our folder. There in textures, plug in, and now we can say here world background environment texture open under textures, and that is this 8K part. You don't see in the moment some, because we're not in render mode. Good, that is enough. Then here in the outliner you see all objects and the name of the objects, and you can change the name of each object. Here we have the lamp, we click on it, then we have here lamp symbol, and then we can say what should it be, a point light, sunlight, spotlight, and so on. And we need here light, yellow, like the sun is, and 7 is real sunny day, so you can take here 7, and this is for hard shadows. As smaller this value, as harder is the shadow. So normally I take here a 003. Good, we have done that all. File, save, and when we now go here to render, then we see the effect of that. That is surely here the color of the light, and this material we must make it more black, harder black, and when we go down with the strange, it will be change that too. And it's surely from the light that we use that makes that lighten, but you can make them darker, that is not the problem. Good. But we have done this first steps. I think here 3 or 4. Oh, that is too much. Okay, good, we got it. Must look near to it. Yeah, that's fine stuff. Wonderful. Good. Yeah, that was the first part, to build cycle e-bike, and next time we make here the rest of that, and step by step the whole e-bike. Okay, see you in the next part. Thanks a lot. Bye.